Rap has become filled with blood and death in lyrics that recreate beef and crimes on the street, and rappers have been going down left and right in the jail cell. ATK top hitter, KSoo, has been feeling the backlash of his alleged deeds and disrespectful drill music while locked behind bars. Now officers may have a target on his back and attempted to assassinate his sister, abusing their power to make his life a living hell. Today, we're going to catch up on the KSoo case, the recent beating by cops behind bars, and expose the possible hit put out by cops on his sister. The war between ATK and KTA has been going on for a minute, and even though many have been trying to push both Youngin Ace and Foolio to squash the war, from influencers to even kids in the city, it seems an agreement has yet to be reached given the bloodshed in each camp.
Could anything ever happen to get you and Ace to sit across the table from each other and have a discussion?
I don't know shit.
With just you know, something that's not like a you know, person to person. Put everything on the table and try to move past it. Is that something that you think could ever even happen?
To be honest, I couldn't even answer that question. I really don't know. I'm honest. I don't know.
Could there be anything that could be done with, let's just say, you and Young and Ace sitting down together and saying, look, a lot of fuck shit happened on both ends, but we have to just basically, you know, we don't have to be friends, but we got to get past this and kind of just move on with our careers because we're both successful in our own way.
It probably happen sooner than later. You never know what God got planned, you know? I told him that a couple times, you know? We be talking time to time, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you never know what can happen. You know, like, it ain't no, you know what I'm saying? We want to kill each other now. We just mutual.
Is there a way for you guys to say, look, like, we don't have to be friends. We don't have to do music together. We don't have to hang out. But we could basically put whatever happened, all the bullshit that happened back and forth behind us. We're not going to talk about each other anymore. We're not going to diss each other anymore. I did my songs, you've done your songs, but we're really going to just end it at this point.
I really just want, what's best for the city. You know what I'm saying? I really want the whole city just to like be great.
What would you guys want to say to Young and Ace if you could say something to him?
Quit the violence. My mom, know your mom. Just quit the violence. Like, we don't want to get into this, and especially when we live close to your block, that's not real good.
And also, I feel like y'all need to stop all this violence talking about each other's dead relatives. Cause I know in some part of your heart, you feel messed up. Just how I said I wasn't on no side. Like, when I heard them talk about how Baby got on the floor and he was crawling, screaming, please don't shoot me. It was sad because you laughed at it like it was a joke. Death is not a joke. Death is something you don't want to play with. Cause when you die, you're gone.
The bodies have piled so much that it's getting even more difficult to achieve a ceasefire. Both have lost people to the streets and to the jail system, but ATK head shooter and Ace's right-hand man KSoo is one that has been feeling the consequences of the lifestyle in the worst way. Currently, the ATK Savage is behind bars in relation to 2 murders involving the 2019 shooting of Adrian Gaynor Jr., aka BBY Osama, and the 2020 hit of Charles McCormick, aka Lil Buck.
And gunfire erupts inside a Northwest Side apartment complex. It leaves this 16-year-old dead. Neighbors say that the shooting sounded like a war zone.
60 to 70 rounds had to be dropped in the course of maybe 15 seconds.
Sky 4 captured the large crime scene outside the Hilltop Village apartment complex off 45th Street just before 3 this afternoon. For several hours, the backside of the apartment complex was taped off as investigators collected shell casings and other evidence.
And while police have not released the victim's name, sources tell us it's Adrian Gaynor Jr. Tonight, News 4 Jax reporter Eric Avanier was there earlier and has the latest.
Family members have identified the 16-year-old boy who was shot and killed inside the parking lot of Hilltop apartment complex as Adrian Gaynor Jr. They say he was employed at a local McDonald's, attended school regularly, and was beginning to get on the right track. The person or people responsible for his death has not been captured, which is why we are not identifying neighbors who say they heard what sounded like a plethora of weapons being fired.
It sounded like it was Iraq out here, like multiple guns, like from different guns.
Sounded just like probably an AK-47 or something that would, shoot repeatedly without stopping.
The shooting happened while kids were returning home from school. Unfortunately, some of those children heard the gunshots and recognized the kid who was killed.
I was standing over there.
Tamika Gaines-Holly is the PTSA president of Ribault High School, who is currently running for city council. She says she was with a group of students from her school who knew the victim.
And they were saying, that's my friend. And I know he didn't know that was going to happen to him today. We didn't know that was going to happen. And I'm consoling a group of students from our school. They were got out of school when this happened.
This has to leave you outraged.
I am outraged.
And so is Northside Coalition President Ben Frazier, who was also on scene. Frazier recently called for a week-long ceasefire in response to a recent string of shootings. He's optimistic that the violence will slow down.
We can only hope that as we go through this date forward to March 2nd, that there will be still fewer of these kinds of incidents occurring in our city.
Eric Avignon, Channel 4, the local station.
And so far, a suspect hasn't been named, and we haven't been told what led up to the shooting. It's also unclear if the 16-year-old was the intended target.
Developing now, a father and son have been arrested in connection with a deadly shooting at an Arlington shopping center. 21-year-old Hakeem Robinson and his father, 49-year-old Abdul Robinson, are both in the Duval County Jail. Hakeem Robinson is charged with second-degree murder, and Abdul is charged with accessory after the fact. Investigators believe the two are involved in the shooting death of a man at a shopping center on Merrill Road back in January. That led to a police chase and manhunt in a nearby neighborhood. News4JAX reporter Corley Peel is joining us live. Corley, what else do we know about this father and son?
Sources tell us that Hakeem Robinson is known as a local rapper named KSoo. At this time, it's unclear what he and his father's roles were in that deadly shooting, but our News4JAX crime and safety expert Ken Jefferson says it's not unusual for fathers and sons to commit crimes together. In January, surveillance video captured two men running through a backyard, jumping a fence during a police chase following a deadly shooting at a shopping center on Merrill Road. 8 months later, JSO announced 21-year-old Hakeem Robinson is charged with second-degree murder, and his father, 49-year-old Abdul Robinson, is charged with accessory after the fact in connection to that deadly shooting. News4JAX crime and safety expert Ken Jefferson says father and sons accused of committing crimes together isn't new.
It's an old adage that fathers are going to look out for their children, or for their sons in this case, no matter what.
Sources confirmed to News4JAX Hakeem Robinson is a local rapper named KSoo. He became a part of a News4JAX story last year for his controversial album cover that featured photos of murder victims. A mother of one of the victims told us the photo of her son was in spite of his death and not a memorial. Jefferson says Robinson's music videos and lyrics could help show investigators what he's been up to.
It just increases investigators' curiosity as to, one, why he would continue to do this sort of thing, and two, what is there more that they don't know.
Sources tell News4JAX that some of the lyrics in KSoo's music reference gangs and violence. At this time, police have not said if that deadly shooting was related to a gang. Reporting live from JSO, Corley Peel, Channel 4, the local station.
Corley, thanks. A third man, Dominique Barner, is also charged with second-degree murder in the January shooting on Merrill Road. News4JAX learned today Barner is also charged with second-degree murder in the shooting death of a bicyclist on Emerson Street last year.
Before we dive into the KSoo story, let's clarify that his main op, Julio Foolio, was gunned down recently outside of a Holiday Inn hotel in Tampa, Florida. This happened June 23, 2024. So when you hear me mention Julio in the KSoo story, this is referencing back to when Julio was obviously alive. So I don't want y'all in the comments, you know, those of you who think that y'all like extra ultra smart and you talking about Julio Foolio, he dead, nigga, that nigga been dead. Of course he's dead, bro. So that's why I have to make this disclaimer, so you don't embarrass yourself by trying to make me look dumb by trying to say that this dude is dead and how is he doing all of this stuff in the story and he's dead. All right, let's get it.
Jacksonville rapper Charles Jones, known as Julio Foolio, shot and killed in Tampa. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Riley Phillips. The rapper was celebrating his 26th birthday. This happened outside a Holiday Inn. If you could take a look at this video, you can see the bullet holes riddling the front of the windshield of this car. It's unclear if Foolio was in this car when it was shot up. On your side, Zach Wilcox joins us live now with more details on the shooting. And Zach, Foolio was a big name in Jacksonville's drill rap scene.
Yeah, that's right, Riley. Julio had dozens of different videos on YouTube and 45 million views on one of the videos, millions on others. So he's big in Jacksonville's rap scene. He was also a frequent face on our newscast for his connection with violence around Jacksonville over the past few years. I counted 7 different articles that we published on our website since 2019. Where Foolio was referenced in them, and at least 3 times that we've covered, he's been shot before, once grazing his leg, another time while he was over in Houston, and another time in his foot. So wanted to touch base though with our First Coast News crime and safety analyst about all of this. We did find out from Foolio's attorney that he was in Tampa celebrating his birthday. They'd been at an Airbnb that they rented. They exceeded occupancy at that Airbnb, which is when they left and went toward the Holiday Inn. And from Tampa Police's report, we know that he was killed there along with 3 other victims who were taken to the hospital for treatment there, and that there were 2 cars that they found with bullet holes as well in that parking lot. And I talked with our First Coast News crime and safety expert just about what this means for Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and if there's any possibility of violence moving forward.
I think it only fuels it somewhat, and somebody will step up and take his place, and they see how successful he might have been and how much money he was making. You know, you end up copying him a little bit and carrying on his image a little bit.
And Foolio's attorney said that they're not going to be commenting at this point while there's an ongoing investigation into his death, and he also asked us to respect the privacy of Foolio's family. In downtown, Zach Wilcox, First Coast News, on your side.
All right, back to the KSoo story. So crazy thing is, he went uncharged for Bibby's murder for approximately 2 years before authorities gathered evidence to lay the charges. By that time, he was already in prison for the hit that took Lil Buck's life. That paints a pretty clear picture of how dangerous he was. Getting charged for murder when you're already being charged for murder on a totally different case.
A local rapper linked to a violent gang in Jacksonville is in jail on 2 separate murder charges.
Hakeem Robinson was charged in connection with the 2019 murder of 16-year-old Adrian Gaynor Jr. News4Jax reporter Corley Peel spoke with Gaynor's family tonight.
I still don't sleep, I still don't eat, and they still don't bring my baby back.
Corley is now joining us live.
Yeah, Corley, how was this arrest made?
Hakeem Robinson has already been here in Duval County Jail, serving time for a different murder in 2020. He was served an arrest warrant last week in connection to Adrian Gaynor's murder, and as long as Robinson is in jail, Gaynor's mother feels the community is safe. Hakeem Robinson sits in Duval County Jail with 2 separate murder charges. His latest arrest is in connection to the 2019 murder of 16-year-old Adrian Gaynor.
It's bittersweet. I'm glad they finally got him off the street so he can't hurt anybody else's baby.
Robinson has been in jail since September in connection to the 2020 murder of Charles McCormick Jr. His father, Abdul Robinson, is also in jail, charged with accessory after the fact in that same murder. Abdul Robinson Jr. is also suspected of murder in that case and is wanted by the U.S. Marshals. In a news conference last year, JSO says the Robinsons are part of a violent drug trafficking organization called ATK, also known as ACE's Top Killers. Police say the group consists of 9 people. Abdul Robinson is the leader.
9 people, potentially responsible for 15 murders that we know of, and who knows what else.
Investigators say Adrian Gaynor was shot and killed at the Hilltop Village Apartments. A witness told police Hakeem Robinson shot Gaynor at a close range. Detectives say Robinson bragged about Gaynor's murder. Gaynor's nickname was Bibby. His mother says Robinson named an album after her son called Bibby Out. His picture is on the album cover with several other murder victims. Robinson also wrote about Gaynor in his songs, using the lyrics, "You know we smoke, little Bibby." What was that like seeing that?
Hell, that every video took my breath away. It took my family's breath away. My kids had to see that.
Gaynor would have celebrated his 19th birthday on Friday.
That was my life. They turned off my life.
Gaynor's mother hopes Robinson won't ever leave jail. Mad Dads has worked closely with Gaynor's family over the past couple of years. They say they are grateful that a witness came forward with information about Gaynor's murder, and they encourage more witnesses to speak up so that more families can get justice. Reporting live.
And a 22-year-old man already in jail on a murder charge had a second charge filed against him. Hakeem Robinson, who you see here, was charged on March 10th with second-degree murder in the death of Adrian Gaynor Jr., which happened back in 2019. Robinson had already been in jail for the same charge in the death of Charles McCormick. 2 others have been arrested in this case, and officers continue to look for another suspect, Abdul Robinson Jr.
KSoo might have been partly to blame for getting himself hemmed up, well, fully to blame if he murked a man and kid, but police caught him lacking after numerous self-snitching incidents. KSoo seemed to brag online about his criminal deeds, and cops didn't hesitate to use them against him.
Both men had social media accounts that police looked at in their investigation. On Robinson's Instagram, there was a story posted of a child singing a song entitled KSoo Homicide by rapper Youngin Ace, a local rapper who has made headlines before. The video was posted after the murder of Charles McCormick. Also another story, which depicted Hakeem Robinson at a nail salon receiving a pedicure with the caption, "Kill a N-word, then go get my toes done." News4Jack's crime and safety expert Ken Jefferson says social media accounts like these and rap videos are often monitored by investigators because they will give coded clues in feuds between gangs.
Now that we know the backstory of how he's in jail, let's look at his situation behind bars since then. And man, has he been going through it. KTA main op Julio Foolio was blasted for laughing sometime back, saying that KSoo was getting the beats behind bars and was called out by many for capping and clout chasing. Given Bibby was his mans and he took his death hard as hell, Foolio could have just been kicking the op responsible while he's down. But in October 2021, KSoo's grandmother filed an internal affairs complaint after the incident that saw her grandchild being roughed up by prison officers. The prison personnel responded denying any wrongdoing.
Robinson's grandmother, Rosemary Walters, filed an internal affairs complaint after the incident in October.
Got a response back saying they didn't find anything wrong.
But video evidence would later surface showing a handcuffed KSoo being pulled from his cell and struggling with a cop before another creeped up and suplexed the rapper to the floor. With the cat out the bag, Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Internal Affairs reported on the incident, stating that Hakeem Robinson, aka KSoo, refused to go back to his cell after shower and leisure time. This is where the story gets even more wild for a dude allegedly facing charges on 2 murders. The sheriff's office said that KSoo got aggressive, yelling to the officers that they're always messing with him and that he was going to have his people, quote unquote, take care of him. Damn. Not only that, but they allege he went as far as telling the officer, "My people gonna kill you," when he was handcuffed and struggling outside his cell. They then say that KSoo made a gurgling noise as if he was going to spit, And that's when the full-on resistance came, and the second officer had to powerbomb him into the concrete floor to subdue KSoo. But wait, there's more. Reports state that KSoo, after nearly being tombstoned to hell, was still struggling with officers and threatened to kill the officer once he's out of jail, saying, "I've killed people before. I'll do it again."
According to the Internal Affairs report, Robinson refused to go back to his cell after shower and leisure time. An officer puts Robinson in handcuffs. While exiting the cell, the report shows Robinson told the officer, "My people gonna kill you." It says he made a gurgling noise as if he was going to spit. He begins to resist. A second officer grabs him and drops him on the ground. While struggling underneath the officer, the report shows Robinson threatened to kill the officer once he gets back on the streets. He adds, "I've killed people before. I'll do it again."
God damn. They made KSoo sound like a cold-blooded savage, but cross-referencing with his music and doing things like releasing an album cover with his dead ops on it, could you blame the police officers? Do you really think that they're telling the truth or lying?
Anniversary date, death date, they tried to kill her.
McFadden says another person on the album cover is Caleb Sheffield. He was arrested on attempted murder charges in connection to her daughter's shooting in May, but was released from jail 18 days later.
I just want the violence to stop. I want it to be where they can't just say and do anything. You already getting away with murders. Just leave it at that.
There's nothing like a mother's love for her child. And sure enough, she popped up on the news to fight for her son. Not only disgusted on how he's being treated behind bars, but painting a totally different image of her baby boy, saying, and I quote, "He's a lovable child. He's outgoing. He's fun. He's outgoing. Goofy. He's a sweet person."
That incident happened inside this jail back in October, and according to the Internal Affairs report, Robinson refused to go back to his cell and threatened to kill one of the officers. Robinson's mother says her son told her that an officer was messing with him leading up to the incident. This video of Hakeem Robinson struggling with two corrections officers is hard to watch for his mother, Ebony Walters.
Actually, when I first saw the video, it kind of scared me real bad.
With KSoo going through it, his homie Ace tried to shed light on the situation, dropping his latest single, Off the Record, where he references scenes from the jail clip with KSoo multiple times in the music video while rapping on the incident.
You know, he could be, this is acting, this is a career, this is acting, this is a job. He's pretending, you know, this is what the fans like, that's what he do. Because when he's not rapping, he's a totally different person. That's not Hakeem. He's a lovable child. He's outgoing. He's fun. He's hilarious. He's a goofy, just a sweet person.
At the end of the track, he included a children's book about the case created by KSoo's lawyer, Christopher DaCosta.
Good morning, Your Honor. Christopher DaCosta and Tara Kawas on behalf of Hakeem Robinson.
Good morning. Let's just make sure he comes out here. All right, Mr. Robinson, if you'll look on that big screen to your left, do you see your attorneys at the bottom waving at you?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you all see and hear your client standing behind the podium?
We can, Your Honor, yes.
Okay, and of course he's here for pretrial in both of his cases. So what is the update?
Yes, you heard right, a children's book. Truth is, it's kind of a brilliant move. It takes the prosecution's case of how KSoo was identified as the shooter by height and size and mocks it with facts that contradict, showing those descriptions can never fit KSoo. One thing's for certain, his lawyer is good at what he does. That's the first time I've seen a stunt like that. The prosecution intends to do a body scan of KSoo to get his body dimensions to compare it to a surveillance video of the alleged shooter to show it fits him, but KSoo's lawyer is doing his best to throw a wrench in that plan.
With the computer generated, this is not a lot of Hollywood, that an actor will be scanned and then used for animation. So the question that I would ask the government through the court is that with these scans, will there be an attempt to then recreate the commission of the crime with the data from the body scan?
You mean to create like an animation using the defendant's dimensions? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. It's done in CGI as well too. They scan the body.
It's not Hollywood, and that would certainly require a ruling by me to even allow that to happen. These computer-generated animations are few and far between, I get admitted, either in criminal or civil trials, quite frankly. But I'll ask Mr. Cooper then, is that the intention of the state? To create a computer-generated CGI-type animation using the defendant's dimensions that might be gathered from a digital scan to recreate the homicide?
No, Judge, it's the state's intention to ascertain his height and the body dimensions as I've previously described. And then once we have that information, compare that to the information that is on the video of the dash cam. The person that was chasing down and shooting the victim in this case, their entire body is captured on video. Based on a digital scan of the crime scene and a review of that video, this company will be able to ascertain mathematically the height and the dimensions of that person on the video. And again, by dimensions, I'm talking about height, possibly the length of their arms or the legs. Once they have a digital scan of this defendant, they can then take that data and compare it to the data that's on that video. But we are not making a movie of this defendant gunning down the victim.
But within all this, there seems to be something much darker about how KSoo is being treated behind bars and may involve a plot by law enforcement to target and eliminate key members of his family. KSoo's mom claims that he called her and family members about the officer who angle slammed him.
Oh no! It's the angle slam!
Stating the officer was not only threatening him, saying he's going to rearrange his face, but also threatened his sister, saying, and I quote, "Your sister is dead." Now at first, this might all seem like propaganda to try to get out of prison on bias towards him by officers, but check this. That exact day that he claims the officer told him that his sister, 31-year-old Corinna Robinson, was shot in her face. Luckily she survived, but her jaw was damn near blown off. The story began taking a very ominous turn. With this new information, it turns out that the grandmother also included this in her original complaint letter when she found out about his treatment behind bars. The complaint also revealed that KSoo had broken his wrist from the pile driver received from the cop. The news finally broke, detailing the situation connected to the officer allegedly telling KSoo the news about his sister. Reports state that around the same time KSoo was cuffed and hit with the Triple H pedigree in Duval County Jail, his sister, Corinna Robinson, was shot in the face by an alleged bail bondsman at Avenues Mall. Officers were dispatched to the mall for the shooting on October 5th at about 8 p.m. and the time on the surveillance video of KSoo's jail altercation occurs on the same day at about 7:45 p.m. Scarily timed, right? Like it was really planned. The report further continued, stating that witnesses told officers they saw two males approaching two women at the mall and the women dropped their belongings and fled in an unknown vehicle. A witness told police before the woman fled, she stated she heard some sort of popping sound, but did not witness anyone being shot. KSoo's sister then reportedly fled the area with a female friend who transported her to Memorial Hospital for care with her jawbone blown off. Her sister Shia Robinson told First Coast News she had a tracheostomy to help her breathe. It's crazy she survived. KSoo's family tough as hell. What makes this story even more plausible is that the heavily redacted police report states that the bondsman returned to the scene and told officers that he had been pursuing Ms. Robinson for some time due to the outstanding warrants and skipping bond with his agency. According to Duval County Clerk of Court records, the warrants were related to crimes that included a couple dozen failures to appear in court, tampering with a monitoring device, and felony theft charges. Check this. The bondsman was let go scot-free, and the police refused to release his name or the company he worked with. After the possible failed assassination, KSoo's sis was treated at the hospital and booked into Duval County Jail right along with her father, Abdul Robinson, and two brothers, Hakeem Robinson, aka KSoo, and Abdul Robinson Jr. Cops label the family as a violent drug trafficking organization known as ATK, aka ACE's Top Killers, and is led by KSoo's pops, Abdul Robinson.
In a news conference last year, JSO says the Robinsons are part of a violent drug trafficking organization called ATK, also known as ACE's Top Killers. Police say the group consists of 9 people. Abdul Robinson is the leader.
KSoo's situation might be a part of the justice system's new, unorthodox method of serving justice to who they think is ruining the city of Jacksonville.
Councilwoman Jacoby Pittman represents this district. She's outraged.
For a 16-year-old to get off the bus, to come visit a relative and be shot in broad daylight, I got a problem with that. And everyone in this community is. We're tired of being sick and tired of every time that you turn on the television that there's a loss of a life.
The beef has been littered with bloodshed, and it's only a matter of time before the law gets aggressive with their attempts. As it stands, it seems KSoo has a rough path ahead, both to prove his innocence, and if he can't, then to survive behind bars with cops allegedly on his head. Alright gang, that's been the story of KSoo. Get in the comment section, let me know what y'all think, man. Let's run it up. Hey, it's about to be 4th of July, y'all. We getting close. Hey, and we also getting close to that 31K. I appreciate all of y'all. You already know what it is, man. Watch that next video. Gang!